What is up, y'all? Today I'm back with another high-level rental team. This time we have a really hyper-offensive Tailwind team featuring Regidrago, Gholdengo, and Urshifu. And yeah, I just want to highlight this team. It was able to take first place in a 231-person competitive grassroots tournament. It was called the Teru Run Festival, and it featured a lot of high-level Japanese players who have qualified for the World Championships, so there was no shortage of competition, and this team was able to beat them all and take first place. The full team is Regidrago, Gholdengo, Rillaboom, Tornadus, Urshifu, and Mimikyu. And I'll start going over the Regidrago just because I think it's one of the less common Pokemon in the metagame right now. The Dragon's Maw ability gives its Dragon-type moves a 1.5 boost in addition to Stab. This used to be kind of a mirror ability to Regielecki's Transistor, but for some reason, Regielecki's Transistor got nerfed to 1.3 in between generations, while Dragon's Maw has remained the same. Regardless, with Dragon's Maw, Stab, and Dragon Fang, and the Dragon Energy move, which is essentially a clone of Water Spout, lowering in damage as your HP goes down. You can do just crazy damage with Dragon Energy and Dragon Pulse, even into resisted hits. If you're hitting into anything that's neutral, you're pretty much doing 80 to 90, if not a straight up knockout, so really impressive there. And it has Earth Power just to hit Steel types that Heatran that could otherwise switch in, and it has a Steel Terra type to be able to shrug off extreme speeds from something like Dragonite and hit back with its Dragon-type moves. The Gholdengo is a pretty standard Choice Spec set with the Terra Steel just to maximize damage, but I really want to highlight the synergy between Regidrago and Gholdengo's Dragon Energy and Make It Rain. Obviously, the Dragon Energy is doing incredible damage even into resists, but the one thing it can't do is hit Fairy types, and that's where Make It Rain comes in. If you have these two Pokemon on the field at the same time, just going for your spread attacks, you're really going to be hard-pressed to find a Pokemon in the metagame that can easily switch in and attack back. Closing out the offensive core, we have a Choice Scarf Urshifu. Regidrago and Choice Specs are a bit on the middling speed, so having something like Urshifu that's able to clean up after they've done crazy damage with their spread moves, just outspeed, hit through Protect with Surging Strikes, and take knockouts is really clutch for the team. The Tornadus' Tailwind is pretty essential to the team's function. Regidrago and Gholdengo aren't trained particularly fast, so having that Tailwind pressure against slower teams just lets you be able to overwhelm them pretty easily. And against other Tailwind teams, this is a max speed Tornadus, so the worst case is, you lead Tornadus into another max speed Tornadus and they go for Taunt, which is really unlikely at this point. We're seeing a lot of slower, bulkier, Covert, Cloak, and Rocky Helmet Torns. So yeah, being able to pretty much guarantee getting your first Tailwind, and then if they match Tailwinds, going for an Icy Wind next turn to continue to give your team the speed advantage is really clutch. The last two slots on the team aren't too common, more of matchup techs. We have the Rillaboom with Assault Vest, which is able to do pretty well into things like Flutter Mane and just other special attackers and do big damage with Drum Beating, lowering speed at the same time, and also U-turn to reposition. As well as Mimikyu, which is a really, really cool tech against the physical core of Dragonite, Chien-Pao, and Urshifu. Most of the time, the Chien-Pao is going to have to go for an Ice Spinner into your Mimikyu, take a chip of Rocky Helmet, and then you can knock it out with Play Rough. Also, Dragonite going to have to, it can't extreme speed into your Ghost typing if you haven't Terra'd, and if Urshifu is on the field, they have to take at least 3 hits of Rocky Helmet to not even knock you out. It's going to take 4 hits of Surging Strikes, I think, to knock you out if they go for Terra Water, and if you have the Grass Terra in play, you can just go for that, and suddenly they're knocking themselves out with Rocky Helmet by the time they knock you out. So it's a really cool set. It also serves to beat Trick Room really effectively. You can either taunt into anything that's not Mental Herb, or if you don't want to lead Mimikyu, you think they're going to try and counteract that. They're going to try and counter lead your Mimikyu. You can just bring it in later in Trick Room and reverse the Trick Room because the Mimikyu is really bulky on this team. So with Disguise and all that bulk, it's going to usually take more than a double up to knock it out unless they have super effective moves. So they're going to be really hard pressed to stop you from reversing Trick Room and then just reverse sweeping them with your really strong spread moves. This is the best hyper offensive Tailwind team that I've seen this format. Just leading Tornadus, Regidrago, or Gholdengo wins you so many matchups just on its own, and then by the time your opponent has taken a knockout, you just bring in your next insane sweeper, whether it be the one you didn't choose of Regidrago or Gholdengo or Urshifu. It's really, really difficult for your opponent to contend with all the offense you're offering, even against Trick Room. And when you do face Trick Room, you have those really cool techs in Rillaboom and Mimikyu to handle that as well. Overall, I'm really impressed with this team, and I'd be very shocked if we didn't see a lot of these combinations of Pokemon doing well at the World Championship. It's not really on a lot of Americans' radars. I don't think the Regidrago and the Mimikyu, but From the games that I was able to get with them, they were both really impressive in the games they did come to. If you're interested in getting any games with the team, I have the rental code in the top right of the video, of course, as well as in the description, along with a PokePaste of the team, including EV spreads. And if you enjoy the videos, if you enjoy watching the battles or just the teams themselves, please subscribe. It helps out the channel a ton. And yeah, let's get into the battles. Okay, and an interesting team here. We have Tornadus, Great Tusk, Pelipper, Urshifu, Goodra, and Tinkaton. So definitely a rain team, with the Great Tusk being the standout Pokemon. Urshifu makes sense, could be taking advantage from the offensive boost from the rain. Goodra has been seen on some rain teams. Tinkaton, a good steel type, going to be resisting the fire type moves now. But the Great Tusk kind of stands out, but it does have synergy with Earthquake between Tornadus and Pelipper, so going to have to watch out for that. I guess my main concern is that they can counter our own Tailwind. However, we have Icy Wind on our Torn, so that might serve to our benefit. Interesting. I think I'll go maybe... I think I like Torn Gholdengo. Hopefully they don't have Wide Guard on Pelipper. That'd be ideal. I'm not so sure about... Definitely an argument between Rillaboom and Urshifu here, but I think I'll go with my own Urshifu. If they're not Choice Scarf on theirs, we'll be able to get a fast close combat or Surging Strikes off, so yeah. Might have been smart to go with Rillaboom on lead to guarantee we get Fake Out off, or guarantee we get Tornadus Tailwind, but I just decided to take a more offensive route here. So leaving Pelipper and Tinkaton, interestingly. Okay, so I think Fake Out is pretty safe on that slot. They definitely have Wide Guard on the field, like that could be a good option for them. So the question is, do I go for Thunderbolt or Shadow Ball with my Gholdengo? Let's see what they have in the back. They're most likely to be Focus Sash, but what I don't really want to see is Great Tusk switching in here, although that wouldn't be bad. Yeah, I think I'll go for Protect and Thunderbolt, just to see if they're not Focus Sash, because if they're not, then we're going to get a knockout here. But no Dynamat, or no Terra from either, and we see Gigaton Hammer into Torn, no Fake Out. And Thunderbolt goes into Pelipper. Yeah, and it's free knockout there, so we outsped and took the knockout, so I'm glad we didn't lock in Shadow Ball. We are probably a little weaker into who they have in the back, but yeah, definitely a good turn one. We have Gigaton Hammer off the field, and we have our Focus Sash still, and Goodra comes in. So here's where Shadow Ball would have been a little bit nicer, but I don't think that's the end of the world by any means. Do I need to get Tailwind up with anything? I don't really think so. I think I'll just go for a Bleak Wind Storm. 100% accurate, they've set the rain up for me, and see, I could switch in one of these Pokemon. The only issue is it becomes a problem if they go for Thunder Wave or something like that. So I'm going to stay in and go for Thunderbolt. Just try and get as much damage on this Tinkaton as I can. Skill Swap's really interesting. Okay. So yeah, now they have Prankster and we have Own Tempo. Interesting. Ooh, Muddy Water and Rain. That's very cool. They are going to get the special attack drop, or the accuracy drop. Fortunately, we're still in rain, so we'll get a Bleak Wind Storm off. No matter what, it's 100% accurate. It should bypass that check. And I think it's pretty close to just knocking out the Tinkaton, although they can probably go for a priority Thunder Wave now. Interesting. Yeah, their own tempo and not mold breaker. I guess I should have seen that when it came on the field, but I wasn't so used to playing against Tinkaton on ladder. So yeah, in the future, definitely have to look out for that check, because if they don't have that, then I had a pretty free switch to Urshifu last turn because they were unlikely to have the move I was worried about. But we're going to get another Bleak Wind into their Gudra. Tinkaton protects, so now they have Gigaton, Skill Swap, Protect, and... Yeah. Another drop on our Torn, but that shouldn't be an issue for us. I think it is getting close to time to set up our Tailwind, just for whatever's in the back. We actually haven't got any Bleak Windstorm speed drops, which could have been maybe cool, but yeah. I don't really want this Tinkaton messing with me. I could Aqua Jet to try and circumvent any pressure from whatever skill swap move they have, but I think I'll just go for the Surging Strikes. Yeah, Feint would have bypassed that anyways, so Feint has, I believe, +2 priority. But unfortunately now they're probably going to get a big hit off with their Gudra. Like if they're Assault Vest or something like that, they could go for Draco and maybe take a knockout. Shelter, okay. So that's not ideal, but it's not the end of the world. I think we should be fine with Gholdengo to beat that in the late game no matter what. The issue now is that Urshifu of their own could be annoying for me. Oh, Torn, okay. Actually, they're probably baited to go for Muddy Water, Shelter, probably Body Press. Interesting set on the Gudra. I think I have a very good chance to knock out this Tornadus no matter what it is. How many turns of rain left, first off? Okay. I think I'm going to go for... Which is stronger here? Probably Earth Power into Gudra and Surging Strikes. But just in case the Torn lives, I want to double into that slot. Because most likely Gholdengo will win this in the late game anyway, so the Earth Power damage won't be that valuable. Yeah, we outspeed their Goo. Oh yeah, so looks like they're probably going to live this hit. So it was good that I doubled, potentially. But if they go for Draco, if they're Shelter Draco, this could be bad. But it is Body Press, and we live that, not handily, but, you know, with room to spare. So really glad I didn't just count on Urshifu taking that knockout. Definitely a very bulky Tornadus, so good coverage there. I think we can pretty safely protect... Well, they can't knock us out, so we have a pretty easy Earth Power here. Dragon's Maw boost by how much? Powers up Dragon type moves. I don't know if they nerfed it because it was 50% on Transistor and Dragon's Maw last gen, and I think they only nerfed 85 versus 90. Let's see if they're Sap Sipper or not. Okay, and we're seeing a Terra from them. I'm going to run a calculation really quickly because I didn't know between the two of them on a neutral hit, which is... Oops. Sorry, set down my buzzing Joy-Cons. So they are Shell Armor. So definitely Dragon Pulse is stronger in this case. I go for another Shelter. Interesting. And we do a ton with the Dragon Pulse, yeah. So that was definitely... this game could have gotten a little dicey if we weren't spot on with our Regidrago targeting, but we definitely did the right thing here. Actually, you know what? With Dragon Fang, Dragon Pulse is definitely stronger, but I forgot about the item. Tailwind has how many turns? 2 more turns left. I think I can pretty safely protect Switch. And unless they have something to 1-hit KO my Gholdengo on Switch, then I'll be able to switch out my Regidrago after this turn and get a Dragon Pulse no matter what later in the game. But okay, they go for their own Protect, and our Protect I think fails here, which is perfect for us, honestly. Because now we can just protect the next turn. So yeah, I think if we keep Urshifu on the field that turn, Protect doesn't fail. So yeah, that just works out perfectly for us inadvertently. And we will just go for Thunderbolt now. But yeah, I'm just gonna run that calc to see, just because I'm curious, which does more, Dragon Pulse or Earth Power at neutral. So against Goodra, yeah, Dragon Pulse does more against Hisuian Goodra, just by a little bit, even without the Dragon's Fang. So with it, we obviously do much more. And that's kind of the weird thing about these really high boosted Pokemon. Even the super effective moves are doing pretty similar damage to your neutral moves. So the Earth Power is really just for something that you're not hitting super effective into. Like a Heatran. In Goodra's case, the Dragon type kind of put it on the back foot. But yeah, certainly that game played out really nice after the turn 1 knockout, and they just didn't really have the resources to win, especially when I took out the Torn. Like every turn they were kind of on the defensive, and we were just pressing the gas, which this team does really well at. Alright, and Romeo has an interesting team for us. They have Brute Bonnet, Dragonite, Fluttermane, Iron Bundle, Thundurus, and Charizard. So beyond the 2 Photosynthesis Pokemon on the team, the Charizard's kind of a dead giveaway that they're going to be a Solar Power plus Sunny Day Thundurus combination. And what can I do about that? The big problem here is they can Thunder Wave my Regidrago. Like that's a kind of considerable issue for us. So what I might do, yeah, and they can Eerie Impulse. Yeah, that Thundurus is bad news for us. Okay. With that in mind, what can we do about it? Torn Icy Wind seems really strong for me on lead. I think Gholdengo could be good too. Maybe after the fact, it could be better. I think I'll go Regidrago plus Torn as the lead, Gholdengo in the back, which I think offers us a really strong Terra later if we can deal with the Charizard, and I'll go with Urshifu again. So same Pokemon here. I think, yeah, Rillaboom's a tough bring against the Charizard. It does well against everything else. The special attacker is not so well into Thundurus, but it can U-turn for 4x damage into Brute Bonnet, but really is, I expect Charizard to be a bit of an issue for us here, so I'm trying to stack my back as well as I can into it. Alright, and it's Brute Bonnet and Thundurus, so not quite what I was expecting. But overall, decent, I think. Yeah, I guess my problem is if they go for something like Sucker Punch, that's a little annoying for me. Or Thunder Wave. I might just hard switch my Gholdengo out here and go for a Icy Wind. Tailwind's probably a lot better, honestly. But a big Bleak Wind could do a lot of damage to them, so I think I'll go for Bleak Wind and Dragon Energy here. Because if I hit, I'm in amazing shape if they don't Terra. And if they Thunder Wave, so be it. That's totally fine by me. And there is Sunny Day, so they're going to get a boost up. And is it going to be Sucker Punch? Choice Band Sucker Punch would be pretty crazy here. No, fortunately not. And we do big damage to their Brute Bonnet. And do we outspeed? Yeah. Oh, that's probably Assault Vest then. Ooh, we lower their speed, so we're not even going to find out. Yeah. So I haven't gotten... I'm pretty sure Bleak Windstorm doesn't lessen in accuracy in Sunny Day. So we did have an 80% chance to hit there, and yeah, they would have had to have been a very, very fast... Yeah. That's really, really fortunate for us that we hit. Because based on that damage, it was probably a Assault Vest, and Regidrago is strong, but they do have a lot of bulk, so definitely wasn't guaranteed there. And they get a special attack boost on their Pokemon there. I'm going to Tailwind and Protect just to scout out any potential protects on their own Charizard or defensive Terras. And we are also going to see a Terra. And it's into their Flutter Mane into Fairy type, so fair enough. We were never going to hit into that with our Regidrago, so they're just maximizing their damage here. They'll certainly take a knockout if they go for double spread move here, but we're getting Tailwind up, so I'm super fine with this trade. Also, not super relevant in the Dynamax formats for Charizard, but Solar Power taking 10% of HP every turn it's on the field under Sun is really, really good damage. Okay, and they double into my Tornadus, just trying to minimize the chance of them missing with Air Slash over something like Heat Wave. But yeah, Life Orb and Solar Power is going to take it down to 80. I'd be really surprised if they can live a Dragon Energy, let alone a Gholdengo Make It Rain. So I feel pretty confident about this game. I think we just go for Terra Steel and go for our closers. And with so many turns of Tailwind left, they'd have to get a lot of double protects to win this game, and even in that case, we'd bring in Urshifu and just, outspeed everything after Tailwind ended with our Choice Scarf. So we do get this combination, which I think is one of the more notable parts of this team, is the Dragon-type spread move on Dragon Energy plus Make It Rain is just an incredible combination, because the Fairy types that want to switch into Dragon Energy just get cleared out by Make It Rain, and yeah, here goes the Charizard, it's going to drop, and yeah, now we get a single target Terra Steel, Choice Specs, Make It Rain into the Flutter Mane, and that's easily going to be a knockout outside of it being Focus Sash. Nice. So we definitely got pretty lucky on that first turn. I think something they could have done that would have been really cool and set us back big time is have something like a Choice Band or Black Class's Sucker Punch. Like, if they get that off into our Regidrago or Dragon Energy, which is based off HPs, doing pitiful damage, and yeah, they probably could have won right off that. And I wasn't quite expecting it. I thought they'd make a more balanced defensive play and try and weaken me with Eerie Impulse or Thunder Wave or something like that, but they went all on the offense and kind of got punished for it. Alright, and we're playing against N, who has Rillaboom, Tornadus, Heatran, Chien-Pao, Dragonite, and Urshifu. So really the big energy enemy of Regidrago is Priority, just because before it can attack and do its big HP-based damage on Dragon Energy, it can get kind of swiped down by Sucker Punch Extreme Speed. We do have the Terra to kind of avoid that, but regardless, it's pretty annoying. I think we do have the tools to deal with it, though, particularly this Mimikyu isn't bad in the late game, so I think I might bring that this battle. I like Tornadus as my lead with Icy Wind support. I think Gholdengo is also pretty strong. I'm trying to decide between Regidrago or Gholdengo on lead. Yeah, it's a tough argument. I think thinking on their lead, who are they more likely to go for? I think I like this better just because I can go for a Terra right off the bat. I'm going to bring Mimikyu in the back, and lastly, I think I'll close out with my own Urshifu. If they get the speed advantage or they match our Tailwind, we really want to be able to go for a Scarf Surging Strikes into them. But yeah, interesting battle. I think this might be one of the team's tougher matchups, but if we play our Gholdengo... Did we bring Gholdengo? Yeah, I totally forgot who I chose in the lead, but we'll adjust to their lead based on what they bring and see how it goes. But hopefully we get to see Mimikyu do some good work here. It has a really cool set. Chien-Pao Dragonite. Okay, fair enough. So I do feel like I get a pretty free Tailwind plus Make It Rain here. If I want it. Although I probably should live Sucker Punch with this EV spread. So I'm kind of tempted not to go for that. I think I'm going to go really offensive on... No. I could get really aggressive here, but if they double into my Tornadus, that's really bad news. So what I'm going to do is go for... There's no chance they double me. I think I should have gone for Icy Wind plus Make It Rain. But yeah, going to be a tough one. And they immediately Terra into Terra Normal, so... No chance Icy Wind would have done crazy damage, but it was really trying to break the multi-scale. And they go for Extreme Speed right off the bat. We'll see if they go for Sucker Punch. And we live on our Focus Sash coming in clutch. So unless they have Ice Shard on Chien-Pao, we will get the Tailwind off. Yep. And Make It Rain goes off first. Very cool. We do a ton to Dragonite. And we don't see a Sucker Punch from Chien-Pao. So that's really cool. They do have Throat Chop, though. Okay. And that's an instant knockout, which is kind of an issue for us, honestly. Yeah, that's a big problem. Yeah, that's pretty bad. I don't think it's the worst thing. I mean, it's pretty bad. It's quite bad. If we had gone for Terra Steel, we probably... Like, Terra Steel, Icy Wind would have easily taken a double knockout there for us, so kind of frustrated I didn't take that risk, but now we play on. I think I go into Mimikyu here and protect my Torn and play rough the Dragonite. Most likely this will net us a double knockout. If they go for the Mimikyu and take that bait, they'll take Rocky Helmet damage, and if they take the Tornadus bait with Extreme Speed, they 90% of the time get knocked out by play rough. But yep, there is the broken Disguise and the hidden Rocky Helmet. Never thought I'd see the day where Mimikyu's handling anything other than like offensive items or something bulky for Trick Room. Yeah, this is a really interesting set, and because of it, we're able to take 2 KOs with Mimikyu in one turn, which is something you don't usually see. So we have a couple more turns of Tailwind, and we get to see who their last Pokemon are before they see ours, and we also haven't lost our Terra yet. Ooh, Tornadus, okay. Heatran, okay, that's really good, I think. So now we get to go for Icy Wind, I think, and We have another turn of Tailwind. So Icy Wind will probably put their Torn into range of our attacks. We don't have much value out of Taunt or Terra, so I'm going to go for... yeah, play rough, Icy Wind. And we double hit, which is nice. Gives us a bit more insurance. They didn't go for Tailwind, which is cool. And we go for play rough, and it doesn't knock them out. They miss a Bleak Wind into one of our Pokemon. It's the Mimikyu though, so let's see what their last move is. Okay, they go for Heat Wave. Yeah, so we do have the speed drops, fortunately, but we didn't take a knockout that turn like I was kind of hoping we would, and so now things get a little dicey. Heatran's Life Orb, and Tornadus looks to have a bit of bulk on it. So there's a reasonable chance we can just go for Terra. We've preserved it, so we're no longer going to be weak to the Bleak Wind Storm if we use that. Yeah, I think we Terra no matter what. The only question is who we attack into. And I think a Heatran Burn could be bad, I suppose. I think they're too slow at this point. Maybe they can knock us out with Life Orb, I guess. I'm going to assume that they're bulky Tornadus and that they could maybe knock us out with Heatran and just go for the Terra Water Surging Strikes into Heatran. But yeah, Mimikyu came in very clutch this match. Wasn't quite able to take the last damage we needed on Tornadus, but just getting us out of what would typically be a really difficult position, having another Ghost type in the Pokemon, another Ghost type Pokemon in the back to handle the Chien-Pao Dragonite lead was super important. And they do just go for Tailwind, so I think we made the correct play going for Surging Strikes here. And yeah, that's easily going to clear out the Heatran in 2 strikes. Very nice. So now with that speed drop on Tornadus, there's a reasonable chance we can just outspeed their Torn even in Tailwind with our Choice Scarf. So yeah, we'll see about it. But they go for Bleak Wind. It gets really close to a knockout actually, because it's single target, but we do take the knockout here. So very close game. If they had been a faster Tornadus and gone for Bleak Wind Storm last turn and gotten a speed drop, like we're an Adamant Urshifu, so they could have maybe won that way, but I think going for Tailwind ultimately was not correct for them. But they didn't know I was Choice Scarfs, but yeah, if they do know, then they should definitely go for Bleak Wind that turn. But yeah, really tough one, but I'm glad we got to see Mimikyu do some work. Definitely proving why it's on the team. If you don't have, Gholdengo is a good Ghost type against Chien-Pao Dragonite, but if you don't play it carefully, kind of like I did, if you don't hit your turns correctly, it can get dicey against that sort of team, but Mimikyu with Rocky Helmet's a really innovative solution for that. Okay, and for the last battle, we have Cresselia, Ursaluna, Iron Hands, Fluttermane, Heatran, and Farigiraf. Okay, so we have game into Trick Room, despite being a pretty hard Tailwind team. We have the Mimikyu with Taunt and Trick Room, which is just amazing if they're not Mental Herb off the lead. And I think I'll lead with that for sure. And Gholdengo is also quite strong into most of their Pokemon. Regidrago as well could be really, really good. But yeah, I might go with Rillaboom. I haven't brought it yet, and I think it kind of matches up decently into a lot of their Pokemon. If I can stop Trick Room from going up, then the Iron Hands is kind of the thing stonewalling my team. I've brought a lot of Pokemon weak to Heatran so far, actually. So maybe my best option is actually to lead Regidrago, get a lot of I like Gholdengo a lot. And in the back, I think we need to count on Trick Room not going up or being able to reverse it. We'll go with this guy, and then in the last... I went with Rillaboom. I think there's definitely an argument for Regidrago there, but the bulk and fake out pressure when Farigiraf isn't on the turn could be really valuable to stall Tailwind turns. And they have Iron Hands, Cresselia as their lead. I think all things considered, that's a good lead for us, though. We get a pretty nice taunt off if we want it. And I guess Shadow Ball is pretty good as well into one of these. I'm just questioning what I go for. Go with it. It's really obvious what I'm going for here, though, right? They're Heavy Slam, though. I think there's reasonable likelihood that they don't go for Trick Room here, just because it's so telegraphed of an imprisoned Trick Room or something like that. Okay. Yeah, we crit their Cresselia, so definitely better than taunted. A knocked out Cresselia is better than a taunted one. And we get over 50% into their Iron Hands, and they went for Drain Punch. Very, very interesting play from them. Maybe expecting a Terra Make It Rain, but yeah, definitely not what we went for there, and they're kind of paying for it now. Fortunately for them, though, they do have this guy. I think I'm going to preserve this and go into my Rillaboom, just start applying fake out pressure. Farigiraf could also be a likely switch in on that slot, so I want to not be locked in the Shadow Ball against two normal types. Yeah, obviously amazing turn one, and I think it's reasonably likely they went for Trick Room that turn, but they easily could have tried to break my Disguise as well, just because Taunter. I don't think Mimikyu gets imprisoned, but if I'm leading Mimikyu against Trick Room, you kind of expect something's up. We play rough into Farigiraf, so read that turn correctly, and now we're threatening really, really well with Woodhammer into that other slot. I think we can pretty freely taunt plus Woodhammer here. If they're Mental Herb Farigiraf, that could be a problem, and really one of the only ways we could lose, but if they do that, then we just have a fairly safe next turn of Trick Room because we haven't lost our Disguise yet. So yeah, Mimikyu, one of the best anti-Trick Room Pokemon possible, and really proven its worth on this team because the thing Trick Room wants to do is make effective use of its Trick Room turns, and Mimikyu's Disguise means that it takes at least 2 hits to knock it out, which is really valuable. And with all its bulk invested on this set, it's usually going to take 3. And if it comes onto the field at any time without taking chip first, it's really, really difficult for it to not just go for a Trick Room and reverse all the hard work your opponent put in to try and set up that Trick Room in the first place. But they go for Psychic and Facade into my Rillaboom. It's going to be an easy knockout, but most importantly, we stop the Trick Room. No Mental Herb there, so that slot's kind of a sitting duck now. For my Gholdengo, just come in here and go for Terra Steel and start taking knockouts. Do we need Terra Steel? Probably not. I'm gonna go with a no on Terra Steel, just because I could see needing a really strong Aqua Jet at some point. Nah, Make It Rain's much more likely to just be an instant win for us, so we'll go for that. Not mess around with what feels like maybe I'm over projecting this endgame needing Aqua Jet with Terra Water, so yeah, we'll just get the damage with Make It Rain. And Farigiraf can't protect, so pretty sure this Make It Rain's going to be an easy knockout. And if Ursaluna doesn't protect, then that's also going down. And with this guy still up on Mimikyu, there's really no shot for them to pull it back. Although I guess having lost my Ghost Terra, that is a win condition for them, so maybe I wasn't overthinking and I should have just played my cards a little more conservatively. Because I don't think Shadow Sneak will knock out their Ursaluna, but at the same time it probably doesn't matter with with so much damage already done on the Iron Hands. I should be fine. Ooh, also really interestingly, Rillaboom, I hadn't considered this, but has really weakened the power of their Earthquakes. They can't do too much damage off that. I think Shadow Sneak into Ursaluna plus Make It Rain is good. Unless they're Drain Punch Ursaluna, then this could get a little dicey, but I doubt it. Yeah, there's no Fake Out coming out from Iron Hands, so this Make It Rain is going to knock out their Ursa and put... yeah, it'll put Iron Hands in range of Play Rough plus Surging Strikes for sure, but I think it might have been a mistake not to Play Rough that turn. I was just trying to minimize the chances of a Play Rough miss, but I'll probably have to go for one anyway here. If they go for Drain Punch, which they don't, okay. So maybe Rocky Helmet's going to take one more cheeky knockout for us here. This guy goes down, and yeah, we're going to get a Shadow Sneak off to close the game, actually, so... Another really dominant game. I think just a testament to the good team building of this team. It's really hyper-offensive. There's no taunt on Tornadus, but this Mimikyu slot, along with the Rillaboom, really patched up what could have been a difficult Trick Room matchup that's really hard usually for hyper-offensive teams like this, but was kind of a breeze for us, so... Yeah, really well built to the creator. That'll be all the battles for today. If you enjoyed the team and want to get some games yourself, the rental code is in the top right of the image, as well as in the description, and the Pokepaste is in the description as well. If you enjoyed the content, please subscribe. It helps a ton, and peace, y'all.